Before Pamela Anderson became a name synonymous with reinvention, she was a cultural phenomenon, an icon of the 90s whose image was imprinted on television screens, magazine covers, and bedroom walls worldwide. To truly understand the magnitude of her transformation, we need to step back and revisit where it all began. Pamela's rise to fame wasn't planned. It wasn't a calculated move or the product of a Hollywood dynasty. It happened, in many ways, by chance, a serendipitous moment that catapulted her from a small-town Canadian girl to one of the most recognizable faces in the world. The story begins in Ladysmith, British Columbia, a small, quiet town nestled on Canada's Vancouver Island. Pamela Anderson wasn't born into the spotlight. Far from it. She grew up in a modest, working-class family, surrounded by the natural beauty of the Pacific Northwest. Her childhood was far from glamorous. In interviews, Pamela has described her upbringing as simple and grounded, a far cry from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. But even in those early years, there was something magnetic about her. She had a spark, a natural beauty that turned heads wherever she went. That spark caught the world's attention in 1989, during a chance outing to a Canadian football game. Pamela, then 21 years old, was spotted in the crowd wearing a Labatt's Blue Beer t-shirt. The camera lingered on her, broadcasting her face across the stadium's big screen. The crowd erupted. She had that it factor, that unexplainable presence that draws people in. That moment became the catalyst for everything that followed. Labatt's Blue took notice, hiring Pamela as a spokesmodel. Soon after, Playboy came calling. When Pamela appeared on the cover of Playboy in October 1989, it was more than just a magazine feature. It was the beginning of her transformation into an international sensation. As Pamela's star rose, so did the media's obsession with her personal life. Tabloids followed her every move, dissecting her relationships, her body, and her choices. Her marriage to Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee became a constant source of headlines. Their whirlwind romance, complete with a famous, and infamous, honeymoon tape, made her a fixture in gossip columns. Her image was everywhere, but it was also out of her control. Every tabloid cover, every paparazzi photo, every rumor chipped away at the real Pamela Anderson. And then there was the pressure to maintain the perfect appearance. Hollywood in the 90s wasn't kind to women, especially those labeled as sex symbols. Pamela felt the pressure to conform to an impossible standard of beauty, a standard she later admitted left her feeling lost and disconnected from herself. In a later interview, she reflected on that time. "I became a character. I didn't feel like a real person anymore. I felt like I was playing a role I didn't even want to play." What so many people missed during Pamela's meteoric rise was her depth. Beneath the blonde bombshell exterior was a woman with strong convictions and a compassionate heart. Even at the height of her Baywatch fame, Pamela was using her platform to advocate for causes she cared about. She became a passionate animal rights activist, partnering with organizations like PETA to promote ethical treatment of animals. She also began writing, penning essays and articles that revealed a thoughtful, introspective side few people ever associated with the woman in the red swimsuit. But these efforts were often overshadowed by the media's fixation on her looks and personal life. Pamela's story was one of duality, the public image versus the private reality. She was a woman who wanted to be taken seriously, but the world only saw the fantasy. Pamela Anderson. The name alone conjures vivid images of 90s pop culture, red swimsuits, slow-motion beach runs, and the undeniable magnetism of a global icon. But in 2025, those images are being rewritten. This isn't a story about clinging to the past. It's about redefinition, reinvention, a transformation so powerful, it's making the world stop and take notice. In an era obsessed with youth, filters, and perfection, Pamela Anderson is doing something revolutionary. She's choosing to age on her own terms. No Botox, no fillers, no glam squad, just truth. This is the story of Pamela's shocking reinvention, and why it matters now more than ever. But it wasn't just Hollywood that took notice. Pamela's look sparked a broader cultural conversation. On TikTok, the hashtag Pamela Challenge gained traction, with women cutting their hair into chic bobs and posting makeup-free selfies. It became a movement celebrating natural beauty and self-acceptance. One TikTok user shared, "Pamela Anderson showing up at the Met Gala with no glam and a short haircut is the energy I want to carry into my 30s. Confidence is the new beauty standard." But what made Pamela's Met Gala moment so powerful wasn't just the physical transformation. It was the deeper message behind it. For decades, Pamela had been a symbol of artificial beauty. From her Baywatch days to her Playboy covers, she had been the epitome of the polished, unattainable ideal. Her new look was a rejection of all of that. She wasn't just saying, "This is who I am now." She was saying, "This is who I've always been, I'm just no longer afraid to show it." The simplicity of her look also carried a quiet defiance. In an industry where women are often pressured to go to extreme lengths to maintain their youth and beauty, Pamela's choice to embrace her natural self felt revolutionary. It wasn't just a personal statement. It was a challenge to Hollywood's obsession with perfection. Pamela herself summed it up best after the event, beauty isn't about how much you can add to yourself. It's about what you're willing to take away to reveal the real you. The Met Gala moment marked a turning point in Pamela's reinvention. It wasn't just about the haircut or the lack of makeup. It was about stepping into the spotlight on her own terms, free from the expectations that had defined her for so long. For Pamela, the night wasn't about outshining anyone else. It was about reclaiming her identity, and in doing so, she managed to outshine everyone. Her transformation wasn't just a story of personal growth. It was a reminder that beauty, confidence, and power come from within. Even in the 90s, there were hints of the Pamela we see today, a woman unafraid to challenge societal expectations and rewrite her own narrative. She's spoken about the disconnect she felt during her early career, the struggle to reconcile her public persona with her true self. She knew that one day, she would have to break free from the image the world had imposed on her. But in the 90s, that moment hadn't come yet. Pamela was still navigating the whirlwind of fame, working within a system that celebrated her beauty but ignored her humanity. And so, for decades, she played the role the world expected of her. But deep down, she was waiting for the right time to show the world who she really was. The Pamela Anderson of the 90s was a symbol of beauty, fame, and fantasy. But she was also a woman trapped by her own image, yearning for something more. Her story during this time was one of duality, the glamorous icon the world adored versus the introspective woman the world ignored. To understand Pamela's reinvention in 2025, we have to remember where she started. Her journey is a testament to the power of transformation, of breaking free from the roles society places on us. Pamela Anderson wasn't just an icon of the 90s. She was a woman on the brink of rediscovery, and her greatest chapter was yet to come. Fans and fashion commentators alike were stunned by Pamela's transformation. Social media buzzed with posts about her new look. But this wasn't the usual chatter about a celebrity's red carpet appearance. It was something deeper. Pamela's simplicity stood out in a sea of extravagance. One fashion critic wrote, "On a night when everyone is trying to outdo each other with theatrics, Pamela Anderson's understated elegance is the most dramatic statement of all." A fan tweeted, "I never thought I'd say this, but Pamela Anderson just gave the most empowering Met Gala moment of the year. She's redefining beauty right in front of our eyes." Behind the scenes, Pamela's decision to debut her new look at the Met Gala wasn't made lightly. In interviews following the event, she shared the thought process behind the transformation. "I've spent most of my life being styled, groomed, and shaped into someone else's idea of what I should look like," she explained. "I wanted to show up as myself, no gimmicks, no distractions, just me." Her hairstylist, who had worked with Pamela for years, revealed that cutting her hair was an emotional experience. "This wasn't just a haircut," they said. "It was a symbol of letting go. Every time we snipped a little more, it felt like she was shedding a piece of her past." Pamela herself described the experience as liberating. "I felt like I was taking back control," she said. "I've always been known for my hair, and I wanted to show that I'm more than that. I'm not hiding behind anything anymore." The media's response was overwhelming. Headlines like, "Pamela Anderson's Met Gala reinvention stuns Hollywood," and "Pamela's minimalist moment, a bold new chapter," flooded news outlets. Celebrities praised her for her courage and authenticity. Jamie Lee Curtis, an advocate for embracing natural beauty, called Pamela's appearance a moment of pure rebellion against an industry built on artifice. Her relationship with Playboy was unique. She wasn't just a model, she became their most famous cover girl, gracing the magazine's pages more than any other woman in its history. Each cover solidified her status as the ultimate sex symbol of the 90s. Playboy didn't just showcase Pamela's beauty, it amplified her brand. She had a unique ability to balance sensuality and approachability, making her a fan favorite. She wasn't icy or untouchable like so many other models of the era. She was warm, funny, and unafraid to poke fun at herself. But as she skyrocketed to fame, Pamela was beginning to notice the double-edged sword of her rising stardom. While her image was everywhere, the world wasn't interested in who she truly was. Of course, the defining moment of Pamela's career came in 1992, when she joined the cast of Baywatch. Parker, the lifeguard with the golden blonde hair, perfectly tanned skin, and red swimsuit, became a character that transcended television. Baywatch wasn't just a popular show, it was a global phenomenon. At its peak, it was watched by over 1 billion people in 140 countries. To put that into perspective, Pamela Anderson wasn't just a household name, she was one of the most famous women in the world. Her slow-motion beach runs became iconic, endlessly parroted and celebrated. The red swimsuit became a cultural artifact, a symbol of an era. Even today, decades later, the image of Pamela as C. Parker remains instantly recognizable. But while Baywatch brought her fame, it also boxed her in. In the eyes of the public, Pamela wasn't Pamela. She was C. Parker. She was the bombshell, the fantasy, the unattainable ideal. In a society where women, especially those in the public eye, are expected to look flawless at all times, it felt radical. Pamela wasn't just rejecting beauty standards, she was redefining them. She later explained that the choice wasn't easy. "I was terrified," she admitted in an interview. "I've spent so much of my life hiding behind makeup and hair and this image. But I wanted people to see the real me. I wanted to see the real me." The response was overwhelming. Women around the world began sharing their own stories of struggling with beauty standards. Social media was flooded with posts celebrating Pamela's bravery. One woman wrote, "For years, I felt like I had to wear makeup to be taken seriously. Seeing Pamela Anderson, of all people, embrace her natural self has given me the courage to do the same." Another shared, "I grew up idolizing Pamela on Baywatch. She was everything I wanted to be. Seeing her now, I realize she's everything I needed to be, strong, authentic, and real." But perhaps the most significant reaction came from Pamela's own sons, Brandon and Dylan. In the documentary, Brandon spoke about how proud he was of his mother for telling her story. "She's been through so much," he said, "and she's still standing. She's the strongest person I know." Dylan added, "For a long time, people only saw one side of my mom. I'm glad they're finally seeing who she really is." Their words were a testament to the depth of Pamela's transformation. This wasn't just about reclaiming her public image. It was about rebuilding her relationships, her confidence, and her sense of self. By the time 2025 arrived, the shift was undeniable. Pamela Anderson wasn't just a former star trying to stay relevant. She was a woman who had faced her demons, embraced her flaws, and emerged stronger. She talked openly about her childhood, growing up in a small town in Canada. She shared stories of hardship, of feeling like an outsider, of dreaming about a life bigger than the one she knew. She spoke about her first taste of fame and how intoxicating and overwhelming it was. But the most surprising moments came when Pamela spoke about her personal struggles. She opened up about feeling exploited by the media, about the pain of seeing her most private moments turned into public entertainment, about the relationships that left her heartbroken and the challenges of raising her sons in the glare of the spotlight. Perhaps the most haunting revelation was her reflection on the infamous stolen tape that became a global scandal. For years, the world had treated it as a joke, as a salacious piece of gossip. But in the documentary, Pamela described the pain, humiliation, and violation she felt in its aftermath. She revealed how that moment shaped so much of her life, and how she spent years trying to regain control of her own narrative. But Pamela, a love story wasn't just about pain, it was about resilience. The documentary also showcased Pamela as a mother, a writer, and a fierce advocate for causes close to her heart. One particularly moving scene showed Pamela at her home on Vancouver Island, flipping through old journals. She read aloud entries she had written as a young woman, full of hopes and dreams. Her voice trembled as she reflected on how far she had come, and how much she had endured. Another scene showed her walking along the beach with her dogs, makeup-free, her hair tied back in a simple ponytail. It was a stark contrast to the glossy images of her Baywatch days. But there was something undeniably powerful about seeing Pamela in her natural state. Viewers were captivated by her honesty. Pamela's decision to appear makeup-free in the documentary became one of its most talked-about moments. In a world that often tells people they need to change to be beautiful, Rare Beauty is a powerful reminder that beauty is about kindness, confidence, and self-acceptance. Selena's approach has rewritten the rules, and her legacy as a beauty industry rule-breaker is just beginning. Pamela Anderson's reinvention isn't just a personal story, it's a cultural shift. She's proving that aging isn't a decline, it's a declaration. That letting go of outdated standards isn't giving up, it's rising up. And that true power comes not from hiding who you are, but owning it. So the next time you see a headline about Pamela Anderson's new look, remember, it's not about appearance, it's about liberation. Let us know in the comments, what do you think of Pamela's transformation? Like and subscribe for more inspiring stories about reinvention and empowerment. Thanks for watching.